Hello, John P.O. here, and thank you for letting me into your computer. Here I am in my new home of Maincade. I've got some of my favorite games here behind me. Some pinballs, some arcade, and my Spy Hunter. Well, this is the new digs. I kind of like it. I lost the old digs because I had to do a home renovation and I had to get rid of my old office. So now I'm here, which is fine. This suits me well. And I thought I'd do a Maincade tech video. I haven't done one of those in a while. And I was thinking about what I could do for this particular video. And I thought about the ways games get transferred to our consoles. Over the years, there have been cartridge-based games. There have been CD games, Laserdisc games. There have been Blu-ray discs. All different methods to get to the console in mind, which you may have. Generally, they've gotten smaller and smaller over the years. Not always. Definitely, the progression has been to get the data to the console in the best way possible. For instance, a CD would be larger than many modern cartridges today, only because it has more capacity. But for instance, all right, here in my hand, I have a Game Boy Advance cartridge. One of my favorite games, Tactics Ogre. Pretty small, no doubt. And here's a PSP game. Comparatively, basically, it's a CD in a special housing that would enable the disc to play in a PSP system. And then they've gotten even smaller than that. And here we have a DS. We could take out what the DS has, and in here we have Super Princess Peach. Yeah, there you go. And look at the size of this. This is like a postage stamp. You can actually, oh well, you can eat this thing, swallow it, probably pass it without a problem. Anyway, so they have been getting smaller and smaller generally, but the real reason why I bring this up is I wanted to showcase some of these things, like my Spy Hunter back here. It's a Bally game. Back then, the data was stored on actual boards, big old boards, and that worked fine. Capcom was one of the companies that would do this. They had a system called a CP system, and that was basically a board that would attach to the main thinking processes of the machine. Problem with that was they would experience major hacking problems, reverse engineering. Being that the board was exposed and open, many people could get in there and mess around and fool around and change things and try to reverse engineer some of their proprietary stuff, you name it. And probably the most famous game on a CPS system would be Street Fighter 2. So to answer that, Capcom came out with the CPS-2, and they supposedly solved the problem, and by putting it in a dedicated housing that would have to connect to a second housing that then would connect to the thinking part of the console, the game of the machine. And I do happen to have one here. I want to show you to it. Now remember the size we were talking about, small, teeny tiny. This is the CPS-2. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. It's huge, and it consists of two parts: the blue part and a black part on the bottom. And they would be A and B. The A would be the bottom part, and the B would be the blue part. The blue part actually contains the game, the ROMs, all the stuff inside, and the A part would be the one that had, for instance, it has a fan to keep all the internal parts cool because it is encapsulated in this plastic, and this is the part that would connect with. Here's a basically like a cartridge, like the old Nintendo cartridges. This would connect to the JAMA connector inside arcade games, and there would be outputs for sound. Pretty awesome. So this particular one is X-Men Children of the Atom. Now there were different colors. The colors represented the regions, very much like CDs and movies and DVDs are region-based. Blue would be North America. Green would be Japan, and there were other colors. There was gray and pink and orange. for South America or something like that. So there was some pretty cool stuff about this. They would try to encrypt these so that it could not be decrypted even if you busted this open, because you could say, well, why can't we just crack this open? Not only was it like this, but it had all kinds of safeguards. It had a battery inside of it called, definitely named the suicide battery, because it had a certain shelf life, and if you didn't change it before it died, and it wasn't just a matter of going to the store and buying a battery, popping it in, popping it out, it had to be soldered onto the board to power it. Once it got below, I believe, 2 volts, if you didn't change it by then, it would wipe this out. This whole thing would become dead. You'd have to actually send it to Capcom for them to refurbish it and send it back to you. So this is what it looks like. I do have a green one. Oh my god, they're heavy. This one is Marvel vs. Capcom, and this is for Japan. You can see some Japanese. It says "Made in Japan" and some Japanese writing on that. Pretty cool. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bust one of these open and show you the guts. And it pulls apart once you get access to it, and it would be secured inside the machine by these clips. And you open it by using a Torx screw. I believe it's a Torx number 20 screw. So let's see if we can't crack one of these open and take a look at the guts inside. Okay, here we have the actual CPS2 system by Capcom, and it's just a simple matter of peeling the part A and part B part apart. There we have it. This is the part A on the bottom, the black part, and you can see there are 4 connectors. They're actually pin connectors. I'm not exactly sure how many pins are in there, but there are quite a few, and they are quite delicate. So when you pull apart the 2 pieces and put them back together, you want to be ultra careful not to bend any pins, because you will destroy your system. And we'll flip this over. You'll see here's the female end of it, and it's just a matter of plugging them in there to make them communicate amongst each other. And remember, the black part actually connects to the JAMA wiring of the arcade machine. Now there are 4 screws here. That each screw is covered with a security tape from the factory. Removing the screws will void your warranty. You have to use a Torx 20 screw, and usually you should use a screwdriver. Okay, with that done, you just gently peel off this part, and there's the board. Now the old CPS1, this would all be exposed, and there wouldn't be the encryption that they developed later on. Flipping this over, you'll see all the ROMs that are plugged into the board for the specific game that you may have. And on the other side here, this purple thing, this is the lithium suicide battery, as it's called, right here. And it's actually soldered onto the board. It's a 3.6 volt, I believe. And that's what you'll have to change before that voltage drops below 2, which could take a year or 2. So here are the ROMs for this particular game. And we're just going to put it back here gently. Obviously, you have to put it back the way you took it out. Otherwise, she won't work. I'm going to show you here. This is the spare suicide battery, and these can be purchased via the internet, or actually you could get them from specialty camera stores. It is a lithium battery, which can be found readily. I'll show you that up close. It has leads that can be cut to length. You basically have to pull the solder out of the old ones, put a solder sucker while you're warming it up, and then putting this in place and gently soldering it back with the correct pulls in place. Generally, I like to put a little note in there after a battery has been changed, so that whoever gets the board, maybe someone else or myself later on, will know when it was changed last. Well, there you have it. That's the inside of a CPS2 system. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.